So we are going to study database concepts or DBMS concepts. Now what is database? Database is basically collection of information that are organized in such a way that the organization supports the easy access, the modification and the maintenance of the data. All the contents of the database, they are obtained by combining data from the various sources in the organization. The database is managed by the software because it is not possible to manage large amount of data manually. So we use software these days, and the software packages, they are known as DBMS. DBMS are specially designed applications that are used to create connection between the user and the programs, and using them the user can organize and maintain the data in proper manner. The DBMS, it allows the user to create and modify and administer the database. That is, the user can use with the help of the DBMS modify the data, creating the tables, inserting records into the tables, modification of the table or the data, and managing the data. That is, if there are multiple users in the organization, how the data should be used among different users, that is also controlled by DBMS. The examples of DBMS are MS Access, MySQL, PostgreSQL, SQLite, Microsoft SQL Server, Oracle, SAP, DBase, FoxPro, etc. What is relational data model? Because there are various data models, we have to study only the relational data model, which was given by Sir E.F. Codd in 1969. Now, the relational data model, the database is represented as collection of related tables. That is why its name is relational data model. Relational means relations that consist of relations, that is tables. So each table is termed as a relation and it has a unique name. Every table should have a unique name. The tables are formed by the collection of rows and columns. And you all know row, the horizontal subset is known as the row and the vertical subset is known as the column or attribute. There are few terms that are used in RDBMS, that is Relational Database Management System. These are relation, that I already described you. Relation is a table. So when you arrange data in form of rows and column, that arrangement forms a table. So table is also known as relation. So example, this is a table student. You can see the fields are ADNO, name, class, section, fees. So these are fields of the table student. So you can see the data is arranged in the form of rows. These are rows. The horizontal ones are called rows and the vertical ones are called columns. So these are all rows and these are columns. And this whole is known as a table whose name is student. Now what is domain? Domain is a collection of values that all belong to common criteria from which the row values of a particular columns are derived. So you can define domains as collection of values from which particular value of a column are derived. Example, if we consider, if we want to write values in the column place, so which type of value you will select? You will select values like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, Lucknow, London, Chandigarh and so on. So they all belong to same domain called place, and your table, the place column of the table, can have any of these values. Similarly, if you have a column called roll number, in that which type of values you will write? You will write 1, 2, 3, this type of value. So all these, they are the domain, they form the domain of the field roll number. Similarly, if you have a column called subject, now what type of value you will write in that particular column? You will write English, Hindi, SST and so on. So all these they form the domain subject. Now what is a tuple? Tuple, as I already told you, it is a horizontal subset of the table. So each record, you can say, is called a tuple. Each record of the table is called a tuple. Attribute, that is the column of the table. The vertical subset or the column of the table, or you can call field, is known as attribute. So all these three names are same: the column, the field, and the attribute. They all mean same. Degree is total number of columns in the table. So you count number of columns and you will get the degree. Cardinality is total number of records. Now you will not include the column heading in the record. You will count only the records in the table. So this is these definitions you can understand by an example. Like if this is the table student, and these are the fields or attributes. So if you have to write the attributes, you will write ADNO, name, class, section, average. So these are fields or attributes. Now tuple, each of this known as tuple. This is a tuple. This whole complete information from here to here is a tuple. Similarly, this is another tuple. So how many tuples are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 6 tuples are there. So since there are 6 tuples, the cardinality will be 6. And how many columns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 columns. So degree will be 5. So degree is number of columns. Cardinality is number of rows. Domain. For example, this section. The section domain can have values like A, B, C, D. So the domain is the set of all the values that are possible to be entered in a particular column, like A, B, C, D. They are all form domain section. Now what are keys? You must have heard about the keys. Keys are the important part of the relational database, and they play a very important role in the structure, the structure of the table. They also help us to enforce the integrity and to identify relationship between the tables, because it is not possible to include all the details of particular entity in a single table. So we divide them into different tables, and then when required we relate the tables. So these are the different keys that you will study: candidate keys, primary key, foreign key and alternate keys. Now what is a primary key? Primary key is a column or set of columns. Sometimes we are not able to define a single column as primary key. In that case, we make a set of columns, that is 2, 3 columns. Together they serve the purpose of the primary key, and the function of the primary key is to uniquely identify a record in a relation. Now next is candidate key. It is a set of all those columns that can act as primary key. So if they have the capability of becoming primary key, all those keys are known as candidate keys. That is, they are candidates for primary key. Alternate key, because if there are multiple unique keys, out of them you can select only one as primary key. The remaining keys will become alternate key. So candidate key minus primary key is known as alternate key. Foreign key is a non-key attribute of the table, which is primary key in some other table, and it is used to relate to tables. So it is the column or combination of column that is used to establish link between the tables. That is called foreign key. That is why it has a word, it has name called foreign key. It is not the key of the same table. Its values are derived from the values of another table. Now this is the table STU detail. These are the columns. So this SR number or name or email, class, section, phone number. Now if in this table, if you see, SR number is always unique for a student. Similarly, email IDs are always unique, or phone numbers. So all these, they are unique values. So they are all can be regarded as candidate keys. But for a table you will select only one as primary key. Suppose you have selected SR number as primary key, then remaining two will become the alternate keys. So all the unique keys that have unique values in the table, they will be considered as candidates for the primary key, so they are the candidate keys. Once you select a primary key, the remaining keys become alternate keys. Now what is SQL? SQL is a standard language which can be used for accessing data in any of the databases. You have studied the examples of the databases. There are so many DBMS software, so you can use the same query language with any of the DBMS. It is used to create a table, to manage a data, and to manipulate a data. SQL provides statement for variety of the tasks. So you have queries or statements in SQL, and with the statements you can query, you can execute your query, you can insert, update or delete rows in the table, and you can create, replace or alter the table or drop the table. You can also control the access of the database and the table records to the different users of the organization. You can guarantee that the database is consistent and integrated. The SQL unifies all of the preceding tasks in one consistent language. That is why it is so popular. Why do we use SQL? What are the advantages of using SQL? First of all, SQL is portable. You can use it with the same capability on all the servers, the PCs, the laptop, even in the mobile phone. You can use the same language, the same syntax. It is very high speed to retrieve the data with the help of SQL. So it is very quick and efficient language. It is easy to learn and to understand because it consists of the simple English statements. So you can relate the meaning of the command with its purpose. So that is why it is easy to learn and understand. Then it can be used with any DBMS of any vendor, whether it is open source or it is proprietary DBMS. You can use the same SQL languages with any of the DBMS. It is used for the relational databases, and it acts as both programming language and interactive language. You are using it as interactive language. You type a query, you execute, and you get the result. So it is interactive language for you, but it can be used as programming language also. Now SQL commands. So few categories of the SQL commands I have listed here. These are the DDL commands, DML commands, DQL or data query language commands, TCL or transaction control language command. The different DDL commands are create table, alter table, drop table. So see, you can see the English word, simple English word. Create means to create any new thing is creation. So that is why the purpose of the create table is to create a new table. Similarly, altering means to change. So for any change you use the alter table command. So all the SQL commands, they are in simple English language. Next are DML. They are insert, update and delete. These three are DML commands. Then DQL, many of the DQL commands you can learn few of them which you will be using, like select, use, DESC. These are few of the DQL command. Now TCL command, few examples of TCL command: commit, rollback, save point, etc. So these are SQL commands. Now we will define them one by one. The SQL commands are categorized into different categories for the purpose, depending on their purpose. DDL commands, DML commands, TCL commands and DQL commands. DDL commands are those that are used to create the structure of the table, to modify the structure of the table, or if you want to remove the structure of the table. Structure includes the description of the column. So any change in description of the column uses DDL commands. So these DDL commands are create table, alter table and drop table. Creating a new table can be done with the help of create table command. To change the table, the existing table, if the table has already been created and you want to change, you want to make any change in the columns of the existing table, you will use alter table. And to remove the table entirely, that is along with the structure, you will use drop table command. Next are DML command, data manipulation. When you want to manipulate the data, the records of the table, then you use DML commands. Manipulation means if you want to add new records, or you want to remove the records from the table, or you want to modify the record, you use DML command. These are update, delete and insert. Next are transaction control language command. When you want to control the transaction of the DBMS, transactions done by the DBMS, you will use TCL commands. That is, you want to make the changes permanent, or you want to undo the changes, or creating save points. These are all done through TCL commands. Few of the TCL commands are begin, commit, rollback, etc. Now, DQL data query language, when you don't want to manipulate or you want to change any type of you don't want to make any changes in the DBMS, but you simply want to access the record, then you use DQL commands. So they are used to display databases, tables, record, or you want to access the records from the table, you use DQL commands. These are select, use, DSC or describe. Now next you will study about the data types in SQL. So before going to any language, first we study the data types of the language. Which types of data can be stored in the particular language, in what format, that is data type. So each value that you manipulate by SQL database has a data type. Data type of the values, they are associated with fixed set of properties. Every data type has unique set of properties. That is why we have so many different data types in different languages. So in SQL, the three main types of data types are character data type, number data type and date data type. The character data type, when you want to store alphanumeric data, or the data that consists of alphabets, numbers or any other symbols, then they are defined by the three keywords char, varchar or varchar2. There are other data types also, but you will learn only these three: char, varchar and varchar2. Char, we use char for storing fixed length of character. That is, when we know that this much length is fixed, it should be fixed for a particular string, then we use char data type. Varchar is used when we want the string to be of variable length up to a maximum of 2000 characters. Varchar2 is used to varchar2, so 2 has been added here. 2 means the double length, that is up to 400 bytes of the characters you can use. So with the data type varchar2. Now what is difference between char and varchar? So char is used when we want to store the string with fixed length. For example, if we have a name, say Ravi, now how many characters are there? There are 4 characters, RAVI, 4 characters. So in char 10, the DBMS will store first R as first character, A as second character, third character and fourth character, and remaining 6 characters, because you have defined char 10, so remaining 6 character spaces will also be allocated to the name field, though they will remain empty. So size will remain always 10. It means 6 unused bytes will be allocated to the name data type. But if you define name with varchar data type, now what will happen? If you store the same name Ravi, it will use first 4 bytes of the field, and the remaining 6 bytes, it will have null, so that it can be used by other data. Next are numeric data types. They are mainly used to store number with or without fractional part. There are many numeric data types in SQL, like number, decimal, numeric, int, float. Out of these you will learn only 2, that is int and float. Int is used, you will use them when you have values without fractional part. The method of using is int, and in round bracket you will write the size. And similarly, float is used to store the number with the fractional part. That is, if you want to store the values that are having the decimal part also, like percentage of the student or amount in rupees and paise, such values they are used with the definition float. So here when we define a field with float data type, we have to give two arguments within float, that is t and d. T is total number of digits and d is total number of digits after decimal. So if you are writing 5 comma 2, float 5 comma 2 means 5 is total number of digits and 2 is number of digits after decimal. Next is the date data type. Date data type is used when you want to store date type of value, that is like date of join, date of birth, date of admission. So for storing date type of values, we will use the keyword date, and while entering the values in the date data type, you will follow this format: first 4 digits for the year, hyphen, month, hyphen, date, and date should be enclosed within single quote. That is how you will enter the date in the table.